Good afternoon. We have got the Emmys, the Tonys, the Oscars, the Golden Globes, the Grammys. We've got red carpets, runways, Gucci, Valentino, Dior, Zanotti, not Daniele Zanotti, Giuseppe Zanotti, famous shoemaker. Much to the chagrin of my wife, she thought she was marrying that Zanotti. We've got awards for CEO of the Year, corporation, entrepreneur, you name it. And today, as we settlers all acknowledge this land of the Mississaugas of the Credit, Anishinaabe, Huron, Wendat, Haudenosaunee, this land where we work, live, care, and love, still home to First Nation, Métis, and Inuit people. As we celebrate with dignitaries, some live, some virtual, including Senator Ratna Omidvar, Hardeep Grewal, MPP Brampton East, Mitzi Hunter, MPP Scarborough-Guildwood, Naomi Davidson, Town of Georgina, Mario G. Rocco, City of Vaughan, Karen Silovitz, City of Richmond Hill, Dr. Joel Christie, Chair of the Premier's Council on Charities and Civil Society, Helen Burstein, Chair, Board of Directors of Evergreen, Harinder Mali, Director of Sheridan College, Mary Baroli, President of Charity Village, Surabhi Jain, Executive Director of Toronto's Workforce Funder Collaborative, Kathy Brothers, CEO of Capacity Canada, Kathy Taylor, Executive Director of Ontario Nonprofit Network. As all of us scramble for coffee, fill our bodies with nourishment, thanks to the folks behind social enterprise, The Raging Spoon. Today, here, flanked with family and friends, embraced by the pride of peers, sponsored by the vision and generosity of the Bhayana Family Foundation, Raksha and Madan, their children, Samir and Nina. Friends, welcome back to the 2022 Bhayana Awards. That's right, Bhayana's back in town. Don't get me singing. You don't want me to break into song at this point. The only awards that matter, celebrating the only work that really matters, caring for each other, our most important human work. Our chance to recognize the vital front line of the community sector. And this year, this opportunity takes on such special significance. Just like the unprecedented period we've all worked our way through together, a crisis that saw commitment and resilience of our colleagues across the tech sector tested, showcased, stretched like never before. Because there was no other way. Because when the pandemic hit, when need spiked and spilled over to more, when governments, corporations, donors, agencies all pulled together ready to support our community through a once-in-a-generation challenge, every means of providing help, everything they collectively needed to do, it all came down to you. You and your agencies on the front line, translating plans into action on the ground every day. So this year's Bhayana Awards is in a class all of its own. As much about celebrating the entire impressive community sector as recognizing a special group of individuals and agency teams. And spoiler alert, get some tissue ready if you are a crier like me. 15 stories from across Peel, Toronto, and York, incredible efforts at shelters and community centers, at drop-ins, out in community, online, from food access to financial empowerment, from employment to equity, from safe homes for those fleeing violence to uninterrupted programming for those who needed it most. And crucially, mental health services for those on both sides of our agency doors, supporting children, youth, newcomers, seniors, residents, and everyone in between. Innovating, I will not use the word pivoting ever again, to keep people supported and helpful and hopeful in the face of, let's call it, exhaustion and burnout in our sector, facing unprecedented staff shortages, wages that fail to attract and retain a vital workforce led often by women, immigrants, and racialized people. And still, in the face of it all, so damn stubborn, surrender was never part of our vocabulary. This year, our circle is rounder. Just as we reached out to small, new, and grassroots organizations deep in the community in order to deliver support to those in greatest need during the pandemic, often already underserved and underrepresented, we're delighted to include members of our emergency funding cohort in today's celebration as well, in addition to the program and anchor agencies United Way works with. And much, thank goodness, has remained the same. The Bhayana Awards remain peer nominated. That beautiful, warm gesture between colleagues that says, I see what you're doing. And not only am I impressed, but I'm truly inspired by you. I told you there was going to be tears. I haven't even started. I haven't even gotten into friggin' stories. To get the inspiration started, it is my pleasure to first introduce a few special guests to bring their own greetings and congratulations to you personally today. Our first, an immigrant, trained lawyer who worked in social services and the community, a federal MP since 2015 for York South-Weston. He has served as Minister of Families, Children, and Social Development, Minister of Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship, and is presently the Minister for Housing and Diversity and Inclusion. An architect of the Canada Child Benefit, now the catalyst addressing the national housing crisis. Friends, a friend of community and our work, the Honorable Ahmed Hussein.
Thank you so much for that kind introduction. I am blessed and honored to join all of you at the Bhayana Family Foundation Award event. I really, really appreciate you, Danielle Zanotti. You have been an incredible partner to our government during the most difficult time of COVID, when we stepped up to be there for the helpers, when we knew that the most marginalized, the most vulnerable in our communities would be deeply impacted. We turned to the charitable and nonprofit sector. And chief among that, of course, was the United Way Greater Toronto. And so I really appreciate the work that we were able to do together and the work that we continue to do together. And this event is about recognizing the extraordinary contributions made by frontline staff and middle managers at United Way Greater Toronto supported agencies in tackling issues related to poverty and inequity across the Greater Toronto area. The work that you do and today is about recognizing the extraordinary contributions made by frontline staff. And, you know, we learned, I think one of the things that the pandemic taught all of us is about the care economy and who was, what were the services that we all relied on. And that when we get tested as a society, who steps up to fight for all of us? And all of you have done that, and all the awards recipients and everyone is about really stepping up for community, stepping up for the most vulnerable. And I'm proud to have been part of a government that really stepped up for the charitable and nonprofit sector by introducing the Emergency Community Support Fund. As minister, I fought for that, and I'm proud that that tradition is being continued by my good friend and colleague, Minister Karina Gould, in the Community Recovery Fund, Community Services Recovery Fund, because we know that this sector is extremely important, and we need to be there for this sector because we know the work that you do for everyone who looks up to charities and nonprofits for that extra bit of support. You know, the work that you do enables people to go from just getting by to actually getting ahead. And the work that we've done as a government together with you on $10 a day childcare. Today, Canada, in 10 provinces and 3 territories, we have a national childcare program that is not just about reducing fees, but is about inclusive, high quality, and affordable childcare. Inclusive in the sense of being including everyone and every child, so that no child is left behind. Indigenous early learning and childcare, making sure that there's accommodations for children with disabilities and racialized kids and kids from low-income communities. And at the end of the day, it's also about making sure that parents, particularly women with children, are given the opportunity to rejoin our economy. It's not just the socially smart thing to do, it's also the economically smart thing to do. Access to quality, affordable, and high quality and inclusive childcare has been proven to pay a huge amount of dividends for our economy and our productivity and social inclusion. In terms of housing, again, all the agencies have been amazing partners in our government's record investments in affordable housing, making sure that each and every Canadian has safe and affordable place to call home. And that became even more acute and appreciated during COVID, when we told people to shelter at home and shelter in place. We realized that not everyone has a place of refuge and sanctuary. And so during COVID, we invested in the Rapid Housing Initiative that has resulted in rapid housing units targeting the most vulnerable to be built or converted in 12 months or less. And we're now just launching the 3rd round of the Rapid Housing Initiative. And through that program, we expect 14,500 deeply affordable homes to be built. We've already surpassed 10,250. And in all those programs, whether it's the Canada Housing Benefit, whether it is affordable childcare, whether it is access to food banks and all the other services that are provided by all of the entities in this room, we rely on you. We could not do this without you. We could not have gone through COVID in relatively good shape the way we did without your support and your partnership. So I congratulate everyone. I appreciate them deeply. And I particularly want to congratulate all the United Way affiliated agencies of Greater Toronto for the work that you do every single day to help the most vulnerable in our communities. Society is judged by how we are there for the most vulnerable in difficult times. And I must say, with the help of this sector, with the help of everyone, we are in Canada, we are much ahead of where we would normally be had it not been for your sacrifice, for your enthusiasm, for your leadership, your expertise, and stepping up to fight on behalf of others. Thank you so much. Merci beaucoup tout le monde.
Thank you, Minister. Clearly, a person who knows when they've made a mic drop moment and then shuts the video screen off. Thank you for that. Our next speaker, a successful entrepreneur, business executive, dedicated public servant, Rocco Rossi joined the Ontario Chamber of Commerce in 2018 as president and CEO. Prior, Rocco served as president and CEO of Prostate Cancer Canada, CEO of Heart and Stroke Foundation, and in other senior corporate roles. Long a strong supporter of the sector, Rocco is an advocate for establishment of the Nonprofit Week of Appreciation last year in Ontario. But his real claim to fame is having the strongest all-enveloping handshake with huge cushiony hands, the warmest of hugs, and always, pre-COVID at least, the traditional two-cheek Italian kiss. Ladies and gentlemen, Rocco Rossi.
Mille grazie, Daniele. It is such an honor to be here. And normally I agree with everything that my fratello says, but the one area where we do disagree is over the issue of calling this a sector. When did community become a sector? When did we allow that to happen? There is no business community and not-for-profit community and tech sector. And yes, these are nice handles to short forms to get to things, but it divides us. There is only one community, and it ain't no sector as far as I'm concerned. We're going to be hearing some amazing stories, so I want to share one with you. It's about a little girl I got to know over the years. She had to leave school in the 3rd grade because her family needed the help in the fields and never returned to school. At age 18, she had to leave her family behind, travel all by herself to come to a new country, language she did not speak, to marry her childhood sweetheart that she'd not seen for 3 years because he had had to come before to earn enough money to send back the money for a ticket for just the one to come. A year later, she had her first child and very quickly had 4 after that. Through no one's fault, just the fact of no spoken English and dealing with the pressures of raising 5 young children, she effectively became a prisoner in her own house, right? I mean, picking up the phone was an act of courage because if that person didn't speak her language, she quickly hung up the phone. Looking out the door anytime a knock came, seeing a face she didn't recognize, not being able to open the door. One day she wanted to thrill her family. She got all of her courage up, got onto the streetcar to go to a store to buy something special for dinner that night. It was crowded. She missed her stop. She couldn't explain to the driver, and so she spent the day going to the end of the line and back until she could recognize a stop to get off. Until one day, a woman came to the door who did speak her language, funded by the United Way, a YWCA program that taught English as a second language. And this young girl, now a young woman, said, "But I have 5 children. I can't possibly take the classes if someone doesn't take care of my kids." And this woman from the Y said, "Not a problem, that is part of the program." My mom learned English in that program and went on to do the same for other immigrant women at the Neighborhood Information Center. Worked there for years, changed her life, changed all of our lives. 14 grandchildren, 5 children, enormous contributors to the economy. What you do, what all of you do each and every day is build community, but community writ large, not a sector over here that we send a couple of bucks to when we're feeling flush, but a fundamental key part of the economy. Never forget that. Never allow yourselves to be relegated to being a community sector. You are community, and that's why I'm so proud to join with Raksha and her family at these awards. God bless you all.
Okay, let's do a quick vote. How many are in agreement? No more sector, from now on community. All in favor? Passed, approved. We are in agreement, friends. Thank you. Thank you for adding more tears too, Rocco. From the inimitable Rocco Rossi. to she who needs no introduction, the force of nature behind today's celebration, a career in our community, and as a successful entrepreneur. Passionate, persistent, doggedly relentless about celebrating frontline workers in the social service sector. She seeded these awards here in Toronto and has now scaled them across the country. She has embedded a provincial nonprofit recognition day in Halifax, launched Ontario's first nonprofit sector week of appreciation last year, working with Daisy Way, MPP for Richmond Hill, and the Ontario Nonprofit Network. She is now, don't stop her, taking this vision to establish a national day of recognition for frontline community workers. Friends, let us have a big round for Raksha Bhayana.
That's not me he's talking about. I couldn't do it without my family and all of you and what you do. And Rocco, I'm still touched by your story. And I'm going to try not to use sector. I'm so used to it. So it's going to take a little while. Good afternoon and a warm welcome to each one of you. Coming after eloquent speakers like Daniele and Rocco, it's a little daunting, but I'll try and not stumble too much. I'd like to begin with a quote which I love, which I can relate to as a former frontliner. No one has their finger on the pulse of the community like human service agencies and the staff. You operate on the front lines of society with a deep and immediate understanding of the community's needs. Every day you work quietly, out of the limelight, and for less pay than private sector jobs. You work hard, even when no one is watching or applauding. You often take more risks than we can imagine on behalf of those in need. You don't take no for an answer. You turn the impossible into the inevitable. You go above and beyond more days than we can count. Why do you do it? You do it because you care, because you have the talent, creativity, and intelligence to make change. It is vital that we recognize these efforts and take more than a moment to say thank you. Thank you for all you do. Congratulations to the nominees and award recipients. For those of you with us in person today, can you please stand for a minute? Please hold the applause. Please hold the applause. I want to have two other groups stand up, please. And are your executive directors here? Can you please stand as well? We want to thank you for creating a culture of excellence in your organization. So can you please stand, please? The executive directors, please don't be shy. Please stand. Okay. And the hardworking selection committee, can you please stand? Are you here? Okay, virtually. A round of applause for all of them, please. Thank you very much for standing. Thank you. This afternoon is about you, what you do and how you transform lives of individuals, families, and communities in the GTA. As I read the nominations, I was touched to the core with the stories, powerful stories that stir one's mind, soul, and heart. As social architects, you're vital to the economic infrastructure of Toronto and Canada. Very few people know that the sector is an economic driver, adding $200 billion in economic activity annually, 8.3% of Canada's GDP, and employing 2.4 million people. The pandemic has taken and continues to take a heavy toll on our community. The challenges you have faced and addressed make climbing Mount Everest seem easy. You have innovated, created lateral solutions, digital transformation, mergers of organizations, new models of partnerships, and collaboration across sectors with people you may have never sat on a round table with. You are part of a line of excellence, a line that bridges 15 years that we've been sponsoring these awards with United Ways. It includes more than 1,500 award recipients from 350 organizations across Canada. What an extraordinary alumni network. You may know that the Foundation and its partners have been advocating for provincial days, as Daniele mentioned. We have achieved this in Nova Scotia and Ontario. Alberta and BC are working on creating their days. But as Daniele said, it's time to make this recognition national. After all, nonprofit organizations have a profound impact on our communities from coast to coast. As alumni, I'd like to invite you to join us in our advocacy for a National Day of Recognition. We have a sign-up sheet at the reception desk. We have a little visual that you may want to look at too, in terms of what is the business case for a National Day. Please consider adding your support. I'd like to leave you with a thought. Today has been about recognition. What impact do you think recognition has? Our qualitative research, based on the 15 years, asking awardees and their executive directors, indicates that it reignites motivation to do even more for them, their teams, and their organization as a whole. And did you know that research in the for-profit sector, where mostly it's been done, indicates that lack of recognition is a major reason why employees leave organizations. They leave them because they're not being recognized. Recognition is almost as important as compensation. That's food for thought for all of us in the busy din of our lives. In closing, many thanks, Honorable Minister Hussein, for your passionate support of our sector. It makes a real difference to all of us. Mr. Rossi, your support and that of your business colleagues at the Chamber will help change the narrative about the value of nonprofits and the community. Senator Ratna Omitvar, thank you for joining us virtually. Your leadership has been absolutely seminal for our sector. Thank you to all our political and nonprofit leaders for joining us in person or virtually today, locally and from across the country. Daniele, where are you? Eloquence personified. You are the MC of the century. Thank you to United Way's Liz Marshall, where is she? And the Marcom team for a flawless organization of the nominations in this event. And thanks to you, our award recipients, our raison d'etre today. I'll end with two quotes from my family. The need for money is inescapable, but the value you provide is irreplaceable. That's a quote from my son, Samir. Thank you for being a beacon of light, even through the darkness of times. That's a quote from my daughter, Nina. Without more ado, let's do the awards.
Let's stand for Russia.
And she says she doesn't want to follow eloquent people. Hello? Who wants to follow that? As she said, let's get the awards started. Are you ready? Individual awards. I'm going to ask if I say your name or anything that sounds vaguely familiar, stand up. I will then praise you while you're standing, and then you come to the mic, come to the side, and Raksha will take a picture with you. Capiche? Everybody understood? Okay, good. Let us begin with our first set of awards, recognizing employee dedication who go above and beyond for mission, people, and partners. Andrea De Mondano. Where are you, Andrea? Okay, there she is. Andrea De Mondano with Youth Without Shelters. During the pandemic, Andrea brought support directly to clients, day in and day out, taking care packages of food and hygiene by bus to youth in the community. She worked, advocated, okay, she fought a little, but diplomatically with Ontario Works and Toronto Community Housing to resolve rent issues, facilitate aftercare planning and mental health services with hospitals, person after person. Tell me that this doesn't scream unrelenting dedication. A member of the Housing and Aftercare Program for a decade, supporting hundreds in finding and maintaining permanent housing. A selfless team player whose compassion, commitment is contagious. Give it up for Andrea De Mondano. Did you all eat? You got to clap louder than that, people. Get some strength. Let's go. We got like 15 of these to go. Okay, good. Amanda Hadida from Wood Green. Where are you, Amanda? There's Amanda. Come on over, Amanda. A frontline specialist with the financial empowerment team, Amanda helps people overcome financial crisis with humility, empathy, sensitivity, and an awesome sense of humor. She transforms lives. Amanda supported a 70-year-old client staring imminent homelessness in the face by expediting 5 years of overdue government pension and health-related benefits totaling $13,000, enabling the client to access this income source just in time to secure permanent housing. Amanda accelerated this process that usually takes up to a year into a mere 4 weeks. A one-person powerhouse, a recipient of the Bhayana Award. Friends, Amanda Hadida. That sounded way better. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Shashi Parth. Where's Shashi Parth? There's Shashi Parth. Shashi is the heart and hands of the Langar on Wheels program at Punjabi Community Health Services. Every day for the last 6 years, she oversees all the cooking, helps pack all the meals, and then every day without interruption throughout the pandemic, Shashi personally delivered meals to more than 40 clients daily. 40 clients daily. And then while she's there, she tells them to get up, get active, connects them to services. Our very own Uber Eats and Peloton all in one. Shashi Parth. See, when I start to cry, if I look down, then I don't pay attention to everybody else, and I can hold it in. But if I look up, I'm going to start to bawl, and it's very awkward and ugly. These next awards recognize employees who contribute innovative solutions and creative ideas, adapt positively to changing circumstances. Juno Savitz, where are you, Juno? Thank you. Juno, am I pronouncing it close? Is it Juno? Juno. Yeah. Thank you. Juno Savitz. From Breakaway Community Services. Represent Breakaway. Yeah. Juno saw, felt, heard the burnout, trauma, and grief experienced by other workers and community helpers on the front lines of the overdose crisis. So they consulted with community to understand the needs and impacts, organized the harm reduction sector, deputed at the Board of Health, secured funding to implement a creative, groundbreaking response to the unique and often marginalized grief associated with overdose deaths. Juno challenged the assumption that workers can just keep on keeping on amidst heartbreaking loss. Juno encouraged sector leadership to look to staff for guidance on how best to support them and create sustainable workplaces. Juno provided care for the caregivers. A Bhayana round of applause. This name sounds like a repeat winner, I think. Tejal, where's Tejal? Hello, Tejal Solanki. Stand, friend, come to the front. For over 12 years, as part of the Costi employment team in Vaughan, Tejal has been a beloved youth mentoring coach. With the arrival of the pandemic, Tejal took on the additional role of regional coordinator of the Networks program, collaborating with 4 United Way agencies to help young adults facing multiple barriers access networking, mentoring, and find meaningful jobs. Tejal managed to not only balance these 2 very demanding roles, but excel in them, reproducing that same Solanki supportive atmosphere for over 200 online sessions that she has always created for those arriving at the Costi door. Tejal's creativity and commitment single-handedly brings participants back to the program as mentors to a new cohort of youth. Award-winning once, now twice, Tejal Solanki.
She's going to need a bigger wall.
She's going to need a bigger wall. It's good to take a moment just to, I look back at the recipients so far, and it feels like we need to give them a moment to go back to their seat. People are hugging them, touching them, trying to congratulate them. Do whatever you have to as your team comes back. It's so important to recognize. This next set of awards recognize employees who demonstrate exemplary leadership capabilities and consistently achieve superior team-based results. I'm looking for Junior Taylor from Access Employment. Junior! Come on up, friend. The murder of George Floyd sparked deeper awareness and understanding about the impact of anti-Black racism in our communities. Junior recognized the need for Black employees to connect and act together. articulating a vision of a safe space to share and reflect on their lived experiences, support each other, and collaborate. Within weeks, Junior mobilized support from the CEO, leadership team, board. He inspired Black colleagues to join him in establishing the Black Action Coalition for Change, Access's first ever employee resource group. A network of 20 Black employees who work with leadership to implement equity and inclusion initiatives, such as in-house mentorship and building a pipeline for Black talent, with 4 Black staff members recently receiving well-earned, deserved promotions. Let's show some community love for Junior. Thank you, Junior. Notice now I'm having to replace every word sector. Now, see, Junior, it's contagious. Now you're crying too, man. It's contagious. Take the moment, enjoy. I'm now struggling to replace the word sector in my script every time. This is a Rocco Rossi phenomenon now, Rocco. So if it sounds awkward, it's just because I'm pulling sector out and inserting community. Cry, people, cry, enjoy. All the way from Christie Ossington Neighborhood Center at Bloor, Deborah Jules. I caught her in her moment of tears. Now, she's something of a local hero, let me tell you. Manager of the center's drop-in for close to 2 decades, Deb was recently honored when the Bloor Business Improvement Area dedicated a newly planted tree for her long service. Who gets a tree planted in their service? Yes, Rocco, yes. Together with staff, volunteers, students, Deb ensures that the 250 hot meals and 50 take-home hampers provided daily arrive with a smile and in a comfortable, clean, and welcoming facility. And Deb leads the change, modeling care and love. She moves, she floats. I hear she dances from table to table with a spring in her step, swapping stories, bringing laughter, and a sense of community to our homeless neighbors who need it most. Let's wrap this local legend, Miss Jules, with some community cheer, friends. And what the hell? Deb, we'll keep clapping if you bust a move here now. Yeah, okay, we'll do that. We'll do it later. Stay later. The coffee machine will be ready, and we will bust a move together. Now, our next recipient, Lori McLeod from Yellow Brick House, unfortunately not able to be here. Standing in her stead, Loris Herenda, CEO of Yellow Brick House. Lori McLeod began her journey with Yellow Brick House as a volunteer, joining as a staff over a decade ago. She manages 3 locations, ensuring that all the little things, the grass, the plumbing, the appliances, get taken care of, but never losing sight of the big things, working hard to make sure that Yellow Brick House is a home. This spring, she got a garden planted at one of the shelters, and now the cook has fresh herbs and vegetables to use in meal preparations. During the pandemic, Lori led renovations to comply with physical distancing requirements, enabling Yellow Brick to remain open to clients while others had to close their doors. Big, small, Lori takes care of it all. Cares for Yellow Brick House as her home every woman and child as her family. No better care, no bigger heart than Lori McLeod. Our next series of awards recognizes employees who build and maximize relationships with key external stakeholders, residents, agencies, businesses, and funders. Our first recipient of the Bhayana Award, Madhuri Paidiparthi. Madhuri, was Paidiparthi even close? Yes. I tried to Italianize that, so Paidiparthi. Thank you. Thank you. As part of volunteer MBS at the start of the pandemic, when member agencies were struggling to fill frontline service gaps, in the midst of this logistical challenge, Madhuri initiated the Continuum of Care project, streamlining all requests for support, efficiently coordinating delivery of meals and essentials to people depending on community services. More recently, Madhuri played a key role in increasing the diversity of nonprofit leadership in Peel through her work on Volunteer MBC's Boardwalk program, training newcomers and underrepresented individuals on board governance, and then matching them with local not-for-profit organization. This quote from a colleague says it all. In many ways, she is the face of community. All kindness, all patience, all genuine care. Madhuri is the best version of ourselves. End of quote. The Neighborhood Group Community Services, Jules Montgomery. Where are you, Jules? Oh, way at the back. Way at the back. A long way to the front, Jules. Come on up. Come on through. This is like at the award ceremony when you don't think you're going to win and they put you way at the back. And then it takes you 5 hours to get to the front. Welcome, Jules. Stay close, my friend, so everyone can see you. Welcome. Welcome. Jules is the coordinator of the Corner Drop-In. Puts her all into providing supports for those facing the greatest challenges in our community. People who are experiencing homelessness and dealing with mental health and substance abuse challenges. All at a time when many services were closed due to COVID. Jules establishes trust, supportive relationships, approaches people with this kind and open heart, works side by side with peers and other providers in the community. Strong, steady, sweet Jules, a colleague said. A lifeline to hundreds of vulnerable people living on the street during the pandemic, providing food, water, clothing, and hygiene, but most importantly, friends, Jules Montgomery, gifting care and belonging. Jules Montgomery. So many tales of frontline heroes, so many tears. We're freaking halfway through. I need a whole new box. Come on. How the hell do we even decide who receives these Bhayana awards? Let's take a moment to go behind the curtain of the Bhayana Awards and to hear from those who were given the impossible task of reviewing all the amazing nominations and then making final decisions on the awards. Before each award ceremony, nominations are reviewed by an independent selection panel made up of United Way volunteers with representation from various sectors. Members work together with United Way staff to select the individual and team recipients based on set criteria. This year's members include, and please stand if you are here, Ray Chaya. Ray, you're going to come up soon, so you're already standing, my friend. Where's Eileen Tresher? Eileen, thank you. Stay standing, Eileen, so we could see you. Doug Hood. Where's Doug? Thank you, Doug. As well on screen, Monique Abbott and Talina Jackson. Let's give a big round of applause for these volunteers. And let's welcome to the stage Ray Chaya, AVP of Employee Experience and Culture at Zurich, Canada. Ray.
Good afternoon, everyone. I thought Daniele was joking when he said the tears are going to flow, but whew, this is going to be tough. So first of all, I am one of 5 members. 3 of us are sitting, well, 2 of us, 3 including me, are sitting in the back, and 2 of us are online, I hear. So a big hello to them as well. This was a very hybrid, modern approach we took because our schedules could never agree. We've actually never been in one room together. We were led by our ferocious and miracle worker, Nadisha, who's somewhere here. I didn't know how she was going to pull it off, but she did. So a big thank you to Nadisha. Although our schedules did not agree, one thing that we did unanimously agree on is just how challenging it was to select the winners for today's categories. Nearly half of the nominations that we received were for team nominations, and I hear that is an increase from previous years. And I think that speaks to how our communities, your agencies, your staff have had to lean on each other, collaborate, teamwork to keep things going, especially in a city, in a country, in a planet where we are still going through very challenging times. But we did finally agree on a list of winners. Although what I really want to talk about today are not just the winners, but all the nominees. Coming here today, I was thinking about a quote by one of my favorite authors, Maya Angelou, who said, "People will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel." And that is what your nominations, your stories did. They made us feel. They made us feel inspired. They made us feel hopeful. They made us feel motivated. Motivated to go out there and do more. Motivated to go out there and do better. Your actions, your dedications, your commitments touched so many. Left them feeling a little bit less lonely. Gave them a sense of love. Gave them a sense of family, a sense of belonging, and a sense to keep going. So for that, in my books, you are all winners. Having said that, we did have to choose winners, so. But I did want to end by just saying that you have taught us, the selection committee, that we all need to be a little bit more like you. Community champions that are driving change to make a difference in our communities. So for that, on behalf of the selection committee, I would like to say thank you to the winners, a big thank you to all the nominees, a thank you to the Bhayana Family Foundation and the United Way for letting us be a small part of your stories and giving us the opportunity to celebrate all of you today. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray, and all of the selection committee. We feel how difficult that must have been, and we also recognize that you have made some unbelievable choices here today. And thanks for taking the time to be with us as well. We've got our team awards now for demonstrating commitment to success through excellent, consistent, and dynamic performance. Our first recipients would representatives from the Food Systems Initiative Frontline Team East Scarborough Storefront, please stand. Come on up, friends, come on up. In some cases, you'll notice that we have had representatives from the team. This might not be the full team, but we thank you for being here, and then you can share love with all of the others that weren't able to join. When COVID forced East Scarborough Storefront to close its doors, the food systems team supported grassroots efforts to deliver fresh and culturally appropriate food to local residents, especially to those who were immunocompromised or limited by mobility issues. They enabled community access to the agency's commercial kitchen and garden, assisting with donations and preparation and distribution of over 8,000 hot meals, 1,200 pounds of rescued food, and 560 fresh produce boxes. Since then, the team has turned their response into advocacy and capacity building for the community, sharing lessons with local leaders and leveraging more community partnerships to improve food security in the Kingston, Galloway, Orton Park community. Friends, again, a round of applause for the Food System Initiative team at East Scarborough Storefront. From creating alternatives is the Ensuring Services Continuity to Vulnerable Adults team here. We're going to give an award next year. Come. Note, these were also amongst the first 3 people in the building today. They were so excited to get the award. They got here at 9 o'clock this morning. All the way from Vaughan, might I say. Next year, we're also going to give an award to the shortest team name because it is a mouthful to say the Ensuring Service Continuity to Vulnerable Adults team. Creating Alternatives is an organization that serves adults with developmental disabilities. Even more crucial that the programs and support services offered continued without interruption, even as the community was hit by wave after wave of COVID. The team pulled together, developed new practices to ensure that each family was supported through regular check-ins, as well as providing crisis support for new families. This meant staff took on new roles and tasks, moved way beyond their comfort level, developed expertise in new areas. The team's spirit to make things worked and spread, a 44% increase in service volumes. And while a waiting list demonstrates how demand continues to outstrip the capacity of this small team, don't underestimate this dynamic team's ability to find creative alternatives. Friends, another round of applause for our Bhayana Award team winners. You gonna come up, friend, for a picture? Come, yes, please. And we'll take pictures afterwards as well for anyone else. We can add more. Our next recipients, the Collective. Oh, there you can clap, don't stop now. The Collective. Times Change Women's Employment Service. Where are you, friends? Come on up. That was like a false start. That was like a false start moment. Is like, is that me? Are they calling me? Is that my name? Is that? Congratulations. Come on up. Let me say that again because I think we just want to make sure. Are you the collective from Times Change Women's Employment Service? Who else is here from your team? Well, come on up. Come on up. When the pandemic hit, Times Change immediately offered all their services and supports remotely to women in low-wage, precarious jobs who were deeply affected by lockdown layoffs. They supported clients, checked in on their well-being, connected them to other services, and in the midst of it all, they identified growing exclusion of women from the in-demand tech field. So as if they didn't have enough to do, the team leveraged corporate and community partnerships. They enhanced digital literacy offerings and engaged employers in improving recruitment, retention, and advancement of women in the tech sector in their workplaces. Meeting basic needs and improving social conditions, friends, this is the collective team's Bhayana Award winners. Now, I understand this next team has over 40 participants, not all here. The Hong Fook Mental Health Association's Culturally Competent Recovery College Team. Is that the name, friends? Come on up, come on up. Am I correct that there's likely 30 to 40? Yeah, 36 to be exact. The Culturally Competent Recovery College Team, another short name, the first of its kind in Canada, a culturally specific recovery program that offers an innovative approach to improving mental health. Available in Cantonese, Mandarin, Korean, and Vietnamese, and including courses, clubs, and unique initiatives like ESL classes for students with mental illness. The program has been a lifesaver, stepping into the breach when in the wake of the pandemic, the agency observed an increasing number of students with severe anxiety and depression. The recovery program helped clients on wait lists or ready for discharge to understand their mental illness, learn self-management, and develop social support networks. Peer support has been a defining characteristic of this program, mitigating any perceived power imbalances between staff and clients, providing inspiring models of resilience and helping clients learn how to live a satisfying, hopeful, contributing life while managing their mental illness. A huge congratulations and round of applause because we're getting close to the end. Give it all you got for the Hong Fook team. Our final recipients of the 2022 Bhayana Award. Please stand. Rural Employment Initiative Team, created by the Newcomer Center of Peel. Come on up, team. If there's anyone here who thought they were getting an award, let me know. If I forgot you, just let me know. I'll add you into the script, no worries.
We just claim one.
Claim one, we'll claim. Raksha will take care of additional awards, all winners. The Rural Employment Initiative Team, created at the Newcomer Center of Peel 6 years ago to facilitate settlement beyond the GTA and assist rural communities in attracting and retaining newcomers, a lifeline for rural communities and their economies. Members of this team worked one-on-one with clients, coordinated with local groups, planned with rural partners to build networks and potential landing spots. All so that between 2020 and August 2022, more than 4,500 people have received direct rural employment support and been introduced to job opportunities in rural Ontario. This is a true testament to the skills, creativity, and determination of these staff members of the Rural Employment Initiative team. Friends, cheers. And thank you for letting me say rural more times in one afternoon than I have in the last 5 years. Rural. Friends, our 2022 Bhayana Awards. A huge round for all. A celebration of community, of the work each and every one of you do day in and day out. Thank you for making time to join us live or virtually. Thank you to all the nominators, nominees, panel judges, special guests, recipients, heroes, all. Thank you to the United Way staff who pulled this together in the midst of our march to raise a record $110 million this year. Needed, I need not say this to you, now more than ever. For the network of frontline heroes like you and the increasing number of United Way-led solutions we are working with community on. Thank you to all of our seat fillers, because every award show has seat fillers who sit up when the award recipients get it. Oh, okay, I just got a signal from our staff. We don't have seat fillers. We couldn't afford seat fillers. Well, thank you all for being here. A huge final round to the Bhayana Family Foundation. For founding and funding what are still the only awards that really matter. Celebrating the sweet, sweet, strong souls that hold this region together with care and love. Our most important human work. Take care of you, please, so we can take care of each other. Thank you, and see you next year.